Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Low Rollers Live, a Dungeons & Dragons podcast adventure here on Twitch TV. I'm your host, as always, Danny Allinson, and tonight I'll be playing the role of Bryn Wanders. With me here is Jonathan Edwards playing Narroth.
Hello.
We have Danny Garcia playing the role of... Actually, I don't know what you're playing tonight.
Starting with Astor.
Mithlader.
Hiya.
All right. We have Robert Seitz, who will be playing Zarrius, as always.
Hello, hello.
And, of course, our wonderful DM, Chris Rondeau. Chris, why don't you take it away for us?
Well, we're going to do something new this week, or at least we're going to try it until someone tells me I can't do this anymore. So, can you roll me a d20, please?
Just straight to D20? I rolled terribly.
I rolled
Oh,
well.
Dang, Astor, calm down.
Dang.
Astor, today's your lucky day.
Yay!
Oh,
Tell us what happened last week.
Alright, so last week the party had just barely regained consciousness from being rescued from the Tower of Babel. Everyone was in rather low spirits, but they all eventually met up with Miles to kind of have the rundown as to what happened. And the character Bryn Wanders, being played by Danny Allinson, also arrived on the scene rather cheerfully, let's say. So, anyways, as the session rolled on, Lilith was pretty down on herself, a little more than the others, it seems. But all it was really the party was recovering from that whole event. Astor kind of also had to recover a little bit because she didn't really feel like being the leader until Miles kind of rebuked him a bit. And there were a couple of interactions, mainly one that we saw, like Bryn with Narroth kind of trying to make everyone cheer up a bit. I would say she did a pretty decent job. And Narroth also spoke to Lilith a little earlier on that day, trying to just tell her what was on his mind. And kind of after all those pretty downtrodden interactions, they all eventually decided to go onto a what did we call it? A ship, a barge, or something? A ship, so that they could all start going through Miles's plan to try and take down the wounded king. Astor, also, so I may backtrack a bit. Everyone found out essentially that Lana Shakespeare was very close to being due a baby, so he kind of made the decision, him and Dav, to go back to be with Lana for when the birth actually happens. And once the party arrives close to the ship, Bryn notices that there were some people that she had never met in this area, of whom she wound up feeling very suspicious, and battle ensued. We found out that one of the people was actually a mind flayer, and the two guards accompanying it, along with some villagers, were under its mind control. And battle ensued. The party was victorious by taking out the mind flayer first, and then just either wiping out the mind control from the rest of the party, or just knock the rest of the enemy group, quote unquote, or just knocking them unconscious. Lilith led the two men who were not from the area to a campsite a bit far off in the distance, while Astor and Narroth, Bryn, as well as Zarrius were kind of still near the ship, kind of just immediately after the battle.
Perfect. That covered pretty much everything, but most prominently, we have Lilith walking away. We have 4 unconscious civilian or non-combatant NPCs. We have Astor inspecting the house, I believe,
Yes.
Along with myself.
along with Zarrius. What would Narroth be doing? Narroth and Bryn be doing in this specific moment?
Narroth can go first.
I think when we ended, Narroth was actually knocking out the fourth random person that was present on the ship. But I mean, eventually he's going to meet up with the party in the house.
Okay, and Bryn?
Bryn would probably be checking out the mind flare
Cool.
and or helping out the civilians.
Well, civilians are knocked out. So
Okay.
what do you mean by helping them out?
Making sure they're okay. They're not stabilizing.
I mean, they're stable. You guys, from what I understand, did
Non-lethal.
destructive damage. Yeah.
Okay.
Non-lethal. That's
Then she'll be checking out the mind flare.
okay. You are familiar with mind flayers because you went into the Tower of Babel. You've encountered several of them. This would be the first one you've encountered that seemed to have an arcane focus, the spellbook. Most of them would just sort of do mind attacks and tentacle things. None of them actually cast magic. Granted, you didn't see this guy cast magic because he remained stunned and then dead throughout the whole combat. But it's something to consider when thinking about them.
Okay.
All right. Astor, how do you approach the door?
Well, first thing Astor is going to do is actually, well, real quick, does the door have anything that lets him look in, or is it just like a wooden door with a handle?
So there is a peek hole, but the peek hole is open from the other side, so you wouldn't be able to see through it.
Gotcha. In that case, he's going to put his two hands on the door and then also press his left ear to listen in to see if there's anything happening inside the house.
There's movement, but you can't really put your finger on what it is. It sounds almost like rattling on wood, but it doesn't strike any sort of anything really.
So it doesn't come across as like hurried, agitated, or anything like that.
I don't know if you can make that assumption with the information you have.
Okay. So it was said that Zarrius is with Astor, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Astor looks back towards Zarrius and says, "Well, be ready in case anything happens." And he's going to try and turn the handle, doorknob, whatever's on the door, slowly first to see if it's actually unlocked.
It's unlocked.
Then he's going to open the door slowly and kind of peek in as he's opening it. Does he see anything?
Not in this. So, well, you see a room. You enter it seems like it's a 2-room cabin or something to that effect. The first room appears to have a table of a little like oven in the corner that also is used as a heater, fireplace and that sort of thing. But the sound is not coming from this room, it's coming from the room next to it.
And the room also has a closed door, I take it?
Yes.
Okay. Astor is going to approach that door the same way.
Okay. As you're wearing armor, so you're not exactly silent. Something's going on outside. Not exactly silent.
That's true. Do I hear the sounds remain constant, or does
As
it
you
change?
start approaching, it gets more agitated. It's
More agitated?
Yes.
Well, what Astor is going to do then is he's going to stand in front of the door and he's going to yell and say, "My name is Astor. I'm not here to cause you any harm. If you would please open the door, that would be great."
All you hear is
Astor immediately opens the door.
Cool. So you walk in and you see two figures specifically. You see a unarmored orc. He is really tall. He's 6'6". He appears to be in normal clothing, civilian clothing. So think like a brown tunic and brown trousers, perhaps. He is awake, but he seems to be tied to a chair, and the chair seems to be tied to the wall. So he is unable to move, and he's trying to do his best to basically put pressure on the back legs to be able to potentially break the chair, but it's not really going so well. There's another figure in this room. She is human, a lot smaller, also wearing simple travels clothing. Something like a traveling cloak and some simple like travel that perhaps. She does not appear to have anything else. She has black hair and appears to be in her early 20s.
Okay, Astor is going to tell Zarrius, hey, Zarrius, why don't you go ahead and untie the woman? I'm going to go ahead and help this guy out.
Sounds good.
The woman is still unconscious.
I will make sure she doesn't slump over as I untie her, and take a little water out of my bag and maybe flick a little bit of water on her to try and wake her up.
Sure. That's gonna take a while. I think Narroth can enter the scene, and Bryn too, if she chooses to. Uh, that's up to you. You can make that decision.
Bryn probably wanders in.
As does Nara.
Perfect. So you enter into the room, and as Narroth is probably first taking the gag out of the orc's mouth, and then proceeding to cut the rope that's tying him. Because, sir. Yes, I seem to be in a little predicament. I am sorry you had to find me this way.
No. It's nothing you need to apologize for. Let me just get you out of your bindings real quick.
Yes, thank you. We are, my friend here, Yvette, is the captain of the ship. I was supposed to escort her and travel with a group of people to this new area, but it seems like we were trapped, and it seemed like our own crew turned on us, and it's a very confusing moment.
Well, I and my companions here actually came across your crew. We knocked them out, but nothing too serious. But, well, just so you know, you're actually looking at the group you're supposed to be traveling with, but I'm glad we found you. Well, I know you're okay. I just hope we can help her regain consciousness.
At this point, she is probably regaining consciousness, very groggy, not really coherent at this point, but she's awake.
Ah,
I will start out by saying, you must be Yvette. Are you the ship's captain? Your friend over here was saying that you were the captain of the ship that we were supposed to be boarding.
Very dramatically, she stands up and then stands up a little too quickly and sits back down. He's like, yes, this is my ship. I'm supposed to take this very terrible boat to the new continent.
What's so bad about it?
It's not mine. It's one that some dude named Miles told me to take. I don't know.
some dude, huh?
Well, you're looking at your cargo.
She looks around, not getting it.
It's us. We're the cargo.
Oh, you're the heroes of the something or other.
Yes, I suppose.
At this point, the orc stands up. He goes over to a chest on the side, and you see a bunch of equipment and stuff that's sort of been very kind of rudely put into a chest in the room. The chest is locked, so he takes his fist, sort of smashes the chest in, and takes his equipment out, and slowly starts to don. In this case, he's donning a chain shirt, but you see plate in there. You see a giant club, an assortment of rations, a bedroll, the works.
What is the social perception of orcs?
The campaign started with races not really mingling with each other in general. So you're in a dominantly human land, so they didn't take very kind to any sort of races coming in. But orcs have a reputation being known by Grumsh, if you remember Grumsh's raiders before he ascended to godhood, as being sort of these pillagers. They were very vulgar, very brutish. And yeah, I mean, that would probably be the biggest reputation you would have. But you probably did not meet an orc before you met Grumsh, 2 years ago at the beginning of the campaign.
Okay, so the party wouldn't have any initial distrust of orcs.
No, not in the same way as you would a drow, per se.
I see.
But he dons the chain shirt. He stands up straight. He puts on a belt. The belt has a short sword on it and some sort of Bible. And because, well, I believe we're supposed to leave before dusk. Should we head out? And Yvette sort of goes, No. I need a drink. Because Yvette, it's not even dark yet. You can't start drinking now. We have to leave. No. I need a drink. And she goes over to the chest, pulls out the last item in there, which is a flask, and takes a very big swig of it. And Phillip sort of goes, oh my, what am I going to do with you?
Astor has this quizzical look on his face, and then he asks Phillip, "Are you sure she's going to be all right?"
This is a normal Tuesday for her.
I guess Tuesdays are her Monday.
Her Mondays don't exist. She still thinks it's Sunday.
I guess it's a good thing I'm not going.
Oh, don't say that, Astor.
Well, at this point, Astor starts talking to Yvette. How long do you want to take before taking off?
You see her take the flask and down the whole thing. I'm good now. We can go.
Astor has a slightly exasperated expression on his face at this point. He's going to take a little bit of time to observe her and make sure she's not going to just keel over and fall on the floor.
She seems more sturdy now than she did before she took the drink.
You just hear Astor kind of whisper, oh boy. Well, shall we all go outside? Sorry. Astor says, well, shall we all head outside?
Yvette would be halfway out the door at this point.
Bryn would be following her.
Narroth would look over to Astor. We better revive the crew before we, set sail.
Good point.
At this point, you hear Yvette go, my crew! What happened to my crew? Why are there ice shards everywhere?
Well, you see...
No, Bryn.
What?
There's a time and place for everything, but first and foremost, let me go ahead and see if I can help resuscitate these folks. Zarrius, Narroth, maybe you guys would help out as well.
Sure, let's go, Narroth.
Narroth would probably take some flames between his hands and kind of create a ring of fire above the people who are basically chilled out on the ship, and just far enough away so that it doesn't hurt them, but close enough so they get warmed up in a hurry.
Ah,
So we'll take 5 minutes to resuscitate the crew. That's no big deal. Through Phillip, who has healing magic, they're able to recover after you guys resuscitate them, and they begrudgingly seem to be unaffected by the mind control at this point, and are actively trying to basically get the ship ready.
cool.
Yeah, so a few minutes go by, and Yvette goes, all right, so the ship should be able to take us there and back. It's about a 3-week journey. I'm ready to leave.
Is your crew ready?
They're ready. They're always ready.
Oh, good. I'm ready. I think.
You guys will be fine. I'll be joining you a little later. Just don't lose the stone.
Of course not.
Bye, Astor.
See ya.
She'll run up and give him a hug.
Thanks.
You take care of Lana and the little one.
As soon as they come out, definitely.
Ew, gross.
Narroth
She
looks-
runs away.
Narroth's gonna look over and say hello from us.
Oh, don't worry, I will.
After a few more minutes, you see the orc sort of gives the boat a nice shove, and with 2 people on each side of the boat, you see them start oaring their way out to open sea, and you all set sail.
What's the name of the place we're going?
We're going to Asea.
To Asea! She's standing at the bow of the ship
Oh, of course she is.
with her foot up on the...
Okay, so the trip takes about 3 weeks to get from here to the port town. As you guys sort of progress, you are heading into the port town of Wrexham, and you're supposed to take my bad. You're going into the port town of Cardiff, and you're supposed to walk 3 days into Wrexham. So you guys have about 3 weeks of travel time to basically do what you want. But the boat is very small. You guys are in cots underneath the deck with the crew, including the captain and Phil, who the orc is a very loud snorer. But I'm giving each player about 10 minutes between Narroth, Bryn, and Zarrius to sort of set out a couple scenes as we travel, if you guys choose to. Who wants to go first?
I will go first. All right. First of all, I'm going to be spending most of my time probably meditating with the servant of Obad-hai. That's in order for me to become closer to him, as well as get closer to my goals that I have. And I'd also wouldn't mind having a word with Narroth. So I'm going to walk over to Narloth's cot and I'm going to motion, can I sit?
Narroth will nod and put out a hand for him to sit down.
Can I talk to you about something?
Narroth looks over to Zarrius. Sure. What would you like to talk about?
I'm just a tad worried about all this that we're doing, approaching the city and whatnot. I not used to having to take the lead and make decisions for us. That's usually been Astor's role and position, and it kind of worries me that he's not here and I don't have his opinion on things.
How can I help?
I don't know. I'm hoping we aren't that close. We haven't really. We've been through a lot. We haven't really talked too much together, though. We haven't really trusted each other, I feel like, very much. And I feel like I would like to get to know you a little bit better so that I can ask your opinion on stuff
Of course.
when the decisions have to be made.
Of course. I usually make my friends with butting heads with them, mostly figuratively. And we haven't really had too much conflict. But if you'd like to get to be friends the easy way, I suppose I could do that too.
That's the way I would like to do that, and you know that's how I would like to do
Absolutely.
that. Is there any thing that you would have me do while we are setting sail, or like any readings, anything like that?
If you need to take your mind off things, I mean, you are the researcher of the group. I always have more books that I need, understood.
Yes, I know.
But you might want to take time to find out what you believe the party should be doing while we're here, and the best way to go about it. The most important thing for a leader is to make a decision, good or bad. 95% of the job is just to make a decision and commit to it.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to commit to things sometimes.
Yes, if you need to consult with a party, that can also be done, but you seem to know us well enough. You've been around us long enough. You can definitely make those decisions with the good of the party in mind.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any of those books for me right now? That way I might be able to get a little bit off my mind, and I'll definitely be taking time to think over what our goal is on this mission.
Narroth nods, goes into his bag, reaches his arm all the way down until the bag seems to consume his arm, and pull out a book from the bottom. I believe you were translating out of this book earlier. If you can continue to do so, I will continue to accept your translations.
I will do my absolute best.
And if you ever are meditating and thinking through different things, I have also developed this ritual. If you'd like to do so together, I cannot guarantee I'll be good company, but it will be somebody else doing what you're doing.
Okay, I'll let you know when I might be needing that. Thank you.
Narroth nods.
And I'm gonna get up, walk away back over to my cot and sit there and contemplate life.
Anything else?
That's going to be all for me right now.
Let's go to Bryn or Narroth. It doesn't matter.
I can go next. I have something.
Go.
So, on the time at sea, Narroth is going to spend some considerable amount of time sitting surrounded by the open water and trying to mentally having both this great water influence around him and the fire that he has naturally within, and try to combine the two within him. He's going to be trying this using spells. He's going to be trying to have both elements coexist at the same time.
Two things. We'll say you're towards the front of the ship, sort of looking forward. As you tried to do this a couple times, probably not with terrible success, but you sort of look backwards for the split second and you see Bryn wanders. She seems to have some sort of pocket watch, is probably the best way you can think of it, out, and it seems to be looking back. And then she closes it, realizes that you are there, and sort of gives you a wave, probably. I don't know.
Smile and a wave sounds right.
Sure, smile and wave. And then she proceeds to do whatever she does daily.
Okay, Narroth would probably give a smile and wave back and approach her.
Hi, Narroth.
Hello. What is what is that?
Oh, this? She lifts up her little doodad. It's a compass.
A compass.
Yep.
What does it encompass?
Hmm?
If it encompasses something, it
No.
would surround it, right?
No, it's a compass. You know, to help you find your way.
Narroth puts out a hand, his red scales and claws kind of facing upwards, looking to inspect the compass.
She'll keep it in her hand, but she'll open it up, and you can see like a red needle in it that is pointing a direction. It looks like it's pointing back to where they came from. She goes, "Look, it's just a compass. It helps you find where you need to go." And then she'll close it up and let it hang back down on her belt.
So the needle points where you need to go.
No, it just helps you orient yourself, so you know which way to go.
So you intentionally go away from the needle.
Sometimes. It's not meant to tell you exactly where you need to go, but just so you know which way you're heading.
Which is away from the arrow.
Not always. Sometimes you want to head there.
Narroth kind of scratches his head. Interesting.
You've never seen a compass before?
No.
Not the one that paves the trails, are you?
No, I just find trading routes so I can charge the way for others to cross.
That's noble in itself.
Sure. Yeah.
So tell me, Narroth. Why is it... Oh, well. You don't seem to have a family name, do you?
No.
Why is that?
I do not know my family.
Mm.
Well, I do not know all of my family.
But you know some of them?
I have recently met my father.
Your father? Was he a good man? Dragon? Good man dragon?
No,
No?
he wasn't.
Did he have a name that... Well, I understand.
What about you?
What about me?
What is your family?
What is my family? Never,
Yes.
never had one.
Then we are alike.
Yeah, but I managed to pick my own name.
Ah, yes. Why did you pick this name?
Well, it's an old tiefling thing. I'm sure Zarrius would know a little bit about it. Tieflings, when they didn't have families, would choose something that they wanted to be, or strive to be. I wanted to be a wanderer, so I picked the name Wanders. Now anybody who meets me knows what I do. Bryn wanders.
And why do you wander with us?
With you?
Yes.
Well, world's in trouble and all. Always had a knack for finding trouble, not always for fixing it.
But now you aren't wandering. You're traveling with a destination in mind.
No, well, I'm wandering in a way. I've never been to this other continent.
And where else have you wandered to?
Oh, mostly around Tyria, the Freelands, the Clockwork City, Myron, 10 Towns, you know, everything around where we're from.
Tell me a story. Tell me a story of the most interesting thing you encountered in your travels.
The most interesting thing?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a hard one. You know, recently the most interesting thing I've seen was, of course, the tower. To see a building that has sprouted from the ground and the secrets that are inside.
And why did you find that more interesting than anything else?
Well, I don't know if it was more interesting than anything else. It was certainly more exciting than a lot of places I've been to before.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, you were there. I'm sure you saw things and heard things and fought things.
I'm more trying to figure out what you find exciting.
Anything, everything. Anything new. The tower was new. Never been to a place like that before. Zhengzhou was different. Never been to a place like that before. The Clockwork City is amazing. Streets of metal with metal men walking around. There's something exciting to be found everywhere.
Both were marvelous, marvelous cities.
Yes. I heard that you guys were at the Summer Solstice Festival at Zhengzhou.
I heard you were also.
Mm-hmm. There for a night. It seems like our paths had crossed before we even knew it.
I was wondering who the small, wandering tiefling was. It makes sense now.
Yep, that's me. If you ever hear of the Demon Drifter anywhere else, now you know the face behind it.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Anyways, out here and going to Asaya just to see new sights. I mean, I have a job to do, but that's just a little bit extra so that I can get there.
So for one who wanders, being confined on this boat must not be fun for you.
No, not necessarily. There's still new people here.
I see.
Like you, and Zarrius, and Yvette, and Phillip.
Phillip?
The orc. First mate.
Ah.
His name is Phillip. I suppose you would know that if you spoke to him.
I tend to find that more people you go out of the way to speak to means more people remember who you are.
Yep, and that's how you get cool nicknames like the Demon Drifter.
I'm okay without a cool nickname.
Okay, Narroth, hero of the Shadowfell.
Yes, but I didn't have to speak to anyone to get that nickname.
You didn't have
Unfortunately, it makes me more memorable.
you didn't have to speak to anybody to get the villain of Babel either.
Is that what they're calling us?
Not yet.
Is that what you're calling us?
No. But that's what Curfin's calling you.
Is that so?
Yeah.
And why would Curfin spread this?
Oh, I don't know if he's spreading it or not. In fact, I don't think Miles wants him to.
Would that make you the savior of the traders of Babel?
Nah. I don't think that's necessary. I'd rather that people didn't know that I'm associated with you guys.
And yet you travel with us,
Yeah. I want to help you.
just not be seen with us,
I'll be seen with you.
just not be known to be with us.
Well, I'm sure that'll happen eventually.
Indeed. Narroth is going to smile and walk on back to the bow, motioning for Bryn to come with him.
She'll follow.
Narroth is going to sit cross-legged on the bow, just behind the mast where Bryn did her performance earlier, and say, "Now, do you know what I'm trying to do here?"
You're sitting.
Yes, that's true. I am trying to combine the idea of water and the idea of fire without them canceling each other out.
Bryn will draw her gun, spin it around a few times, and pull 2 bullets out of the little case she has on her side.
Narroth raises an eyebrow.
She'll take some pliers out of another pack and bust open both bullets and pour out the powder on the deck of the ship.
And what is this?
Shh. And then she's like, I need a spark.
Narroth quickly conjures a spark, breathes fire into his hand, and he controls the magic to form a circle above the powder.
Okay, as the powder sparks and burns, one of them bursts into flames, and the other one bursts into like a blue flame, and you can feel that there's heat coming from one and actually cold coming from another one of the piles of powder.
Narroth looks over. How can this be? Both are burning, but one is cold?
I don't know. Fancy bullets that Elise Wheatley gave me.
How? Narroth is going to get close to the cold fire and inspect it further, trying to get some sort of inspiration for spell casting.
As he does that, Bryn is trying to stamp out the hot fire that is spreading a little bit faster than she thought it would.
Narroth probably just puts a hand on the fire and pats it out.
Oh. Don't tell Yvette about that one.
Our secret. You're not the only one who enjoys watching fire.
So, cold and fire. There you go.
Narroth raises an eyebrow, looks back over. Thank you. You have given me much to think about.
She'll flick another bullet at him. There's another one if you need it.
He takes it and puts it in his bag very hesitantly.
And with that, she'll just skip away.
Cool. I think we can cut over to see if Zarrius wants to do another scene.
Yes. I was hoping to go over and speak to first mate Phillip, the orc. I think his name is Phillip.
That's correct.
Okay. I'm going to walk over to him. And... Hello, sir. I was wondering if I could have a word with you.
Ah, yes, your name is Zarrius, correct?
Correct.
How can I help you?
I noticed earlier that you had a book attached to yourself. It looked like some religious texts that you read, and I was wondering if I can get maybe a little bit more information.
Ah, what an astute observation. Why, I am part of the Church of Soon. Or, sorry, out of character. Chris, was it Soon or Saloon?
Soon.
Soon. Okay, that's what I thought. So yes, I am a part of the Church of Soon. I don't know what you know about her, but she is the goddess of beauty and love. And it is an interesting concept, especially when people hear me tell them of it, because when you see, well, this half-orc, they would never believe that I would that I would be following this type of religious teaching. Which is unfortunate, but I'm sure on occasion you may have gotten some slight from other folks as well.
Yes, I have. It kind of gets a little bit annoying, but you learn to live with it and move on.
Yes, you do indeed get over it eventually. Why, do you yourself practice some form of religion?
Well, yes, in my, most people call me just Zarrius, but my extended name is Zarrius, servant of Obad-hai.
Ah, a deity of nature, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, yes.
Most interesting. If you don't mind my asking, do you have any affiliation with the Asmodeus as well, or I'm only asking out of sheer curiosity if you don't mind sharing.
That's perfectly all right. Yes, I do. My father made a deal with the devil just before I was born, and which is why I turned out the way I am in terms of the color of my skin. But he's a very bad man, my father is. And I try not to associate myself with Asmodeus as much as possible.
Well, that's understandable. Very understandable. Unfortunately, unless people get to know you, that's a rather difficult thing to achieve.
Yes, especially with him pestering me the way he does sometimes.
Oh, so you're actively involved with Asmodeus. Rather unwillingly, I take it?
Slightly, yes. He, my father sold my mother in order to make the deal with him. So I have never met my mother, and I dislike my father greatly due to that. And I am trying to recapture the wounded king along with the rest of my party, which will allow me to get my mother back. And so I'm really you probably can't tell from my voice, but it really hurts inside to just think about it, about the fact that I could possibly get my mother back. And it makes me really happy in the fact that I've never gotten to meet her before. I'm excited, but also scared at the same time.
Wow, that is quite the story. For me, it is not quite the same, though a little similar, minus the whole dealing with the devil himself bit. But I haven't seen my family and friends for a while myself. Um, it's a rather strange. Oh, I don't know. How do I put this? I haven't seen my family and friends for a while, and unfortunately, I pretty much don't have any reason to see them, though it would be nice. I do hope you get to meet your mother as soon as possible. Family is nice.
Yes, I've never had a family, so it would be interesting to see how we would interact.
Huh. I definitely do not know how to approach that, but again, I hope everything goes well for you.
For your religion, do you have to do any sort of meditation or reading, anything like that? I figure you read just because of the fact that you carry around a book.
Phillip chuckles and he says, "Well, that is a fair assumption. I do indeed read out of this book whenever I want to focus a little bit, or if I'm having any ponderous moments where I kind of just want to immerse myself a bit more. As far as meditations go, I may do a prayer here and there, but I have confidence in the way that I live, the way that I fight when necessary. I try to embody my beliefs as best as I can with my daily actions. I'm sure it's different for everybody, but that's more or less how I function, I suppose.
Yes. Do you have a favorite place to read on the ship, or place that you are able to focus maybe just a little bit better than around with the crew?
Well, that depends on how I feel. If I wish to be alone, I just go ahead and just retire to my room. Just close the door, maybe put a sign on it, do not disturb, and kind of just sit there, enjoy my own self, as well as soon just revel in the sound and the feel of the roiling waves. And well, if it happens to be thunderous, I'm not sure I could say I enjoy that, but if I'm feeling a bit more outgoing, I suppose. Well, that's a bit more difficult, but sometimes I just go on the deck of the ship and maybe kind of just look out towards the sea and take in the ocean breeze, just hear the seagulls or whatever happens to be flying around. Just immerse myself in the natural beauty that surrounds us at all times, which I kind of wish people would appreciate a bit more sometimes, but it is what it is.
I totally understand. I go out into nature and just observe, and I can totally appreciate what you just said.
At this point, you see Phillip give you a pretty wide, friendly smile, as friendly as having protruding teeth can be, but nonetheless friendly. And he says, "Well, it certainly is nice to have come across someone who appreciates more or less the same things that I do." And he gives a hearty laugh at this point.
Likewise, I We'll talk eventually a little bit more, but it was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise, my new friend.
And with that, I walk away.
Cool. Bryn, you want to see him?
Yeah, I'll just go over like day to day for Bryn, and then I got a scene in mind.
Sure.
All right, so most days Bryn is spends on the deck of the ship. She'll either be playing around with Cooper, the robot chicken that she smuggled on deck, or trying to balance out on the bowsprit, the thing that juts out from the bow, or just sunbathing. Most of her, almost like 90% of her time is spent on the deck, even nights. A few nights she'll sleep out there as well. Every once in a while she'll take out both her rifle and her pistol, and she seems to be scoping in or zeroing in on wildlife or just targets that are out in the ocean. She's never actually firing anything, but if you get really close you can probably hear her whisper a bang or two to herself. And then on one night she'll try to sneak into the captain quarters because she heard a rumor that the captain eats better than everybody else.
Are you going when Yvette is not there?
I don't think she planned it out ahead.
Alright, roll d20.
Living up to the
Alright.
name of the show.
Alright. So, go into this room, and what happens is that you basically try to open the door wide, but it hits a desk like 3 inches, or pushing it in only 3 inches, and you hear a large crack, and there's like a nice little splinter coming out of the door. And then you hear, "Who goes there? Who goes there? Who disturbs me?"
Hi, Captain.
What do you want? Haven't you heard of knocking?
She knocks on the door.
Alright, you owe me a door.
I'm sure Miles will pay for it.
It's his ship, so talk to him.
Okay. I'm sure Miles will pay for it.
Ugh. What do you want?
Well, food. I guess?
What?
I don't know. I heard some of the men talking out of the deck that you might have better food than the rest of us. I just wanted to see if it was true.
So at this point, you sort of walking a little further, and what you see is not necessarily better food, but you definitely have the smell of alcohol in your nostrils.
Mm.
It's like, no, I eat the same food. I eat with you guys out in the mess hall.
I don't know. Seems like you may not get better food, but better drink.
This is my stash.
What is
Miles
it?
didn't buy this. Oh, it's all sorts of things. It's tequila from Orbit, rum from Myron, vodka from the Blackwater Mansion.
Quite a selection.
Yes, this is mine. I paid for it. When I have a contract that would make me more money, this is what I spend it on.
Just alcohol?
That and better food, but it's not here.
She like squints her eyes a little bit, like suspiciously. Okay.
All you really see is like papers everywhere, like nautical maps and port towns. You see a couple books there that things like sailing instructions. There's a little cot in the corner, and there appears to be a chest, but that's pretty much all you see.
So Yvette, I didn't catch your last name.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
No, sure it does.
Why do you want to know?
I just like to meet people. And I want to know what to call you.
Well, my old name is Yaldwin, but I don't go
Yaldwin.
by that anymore.
Why's that?
I haven't met. Well, I met my family. I haven't seen my family in a very long time.
Did you run away? Or did they abandon you?
Wanderlust happened.
Wanderlust? That sounds familiar.
Yeah, so I went to school. I studied maps, and I believed that the world was actually round and not flat, and therefore I think that's why Mild Miles contacted me for this trip. But I have a boat. I do a lot of traveling.
Oh yeah,
Normally by myself.
Where else have you gone?
Well, I spent most of my time in 10 towns, talking to the high elves and trying to learn more about from their schools and universities. But beyond that, Tyria, Myron, Blackwater Mansion, all the northern human lands.
So sailing around them.
Well, now I get to sail somewhere new.
So you haven't been here before? Asaya?
Oh, we just learned about this a month ago. This will be the first voyage.
Wait, so you're telling me we're the first people from Excelsior to come to Isaiah?
Miles said something about something years, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago. I don't understand.
Let's just take credit for it.
We're the first ones.
The glorious Captain Yvette. Yaldwin, or just Yvette.
Well, we'll just stick with you, Vet.
Captain Yvette. Sailing to a new and far-off land.
She smirks and she goes into her chest and hands you an orange.
Ooh.
And goes, shh.
I knew you had better food.
Yes, out of my room, out of my room.
Okay, she'll scurry out, keeping the orange as much of a secret as she can.
Cool. Anything
Nope,
else?
that's all.
Narroth, do you have anything else?
Not that I know of. There will be several times where I'm guessing Zarrius and I will meditate, him doing his nature meditations and me trying to combine elements.
Cool. I think that any results of that can maybe happen off camera if there's not a specific scene I want to do for it.
Oh no, that's fine. I don't want to. He's going to start trying.
Cool, perfect. Zarrius, anything?
No, that'll be all.
Okay, so you are approaching the port town, and as you approach, you have the memory of talking to Mild Miles in that room, discussing what the plan is, and we're going to briefly flashback. Mild Miles is sitting in this room and goes, so you're going to head to the land of House Collins first, and we have you set going into the port town of Cardiff. Yvette should have some papers that will explain some stuff to the guard, and we have enough income to support docking fees for about 3 months. So you have about 3 months to solve the problems, anything like that, achieve your goals. You will port in Cardiff, and then you will walk to the capital city of Wexham, and from there, I would suggest, since we do have some time, you can take a day or so and get your feet wet in the culture and just really explore. Because you have Narroth, who is dragonborn, and if Astor and Lilith are here, they will attract attention, and people should be coming up to you to talk to you. From there, you can attempt to gain aid from King Thriftton Collins. We want to ask him for support. Tieflings are immune to this mind control disease, so this is going to be very imperative that we have Tiefling support. There's also another person that I have info on. His name is Davik. Davik runs a casino for resources. He runs a casino, so he has a lot of resources. You can go to him, see if we can get some money, some weapons, anything like that. Even he should be able to help. These people are very prideful. If you're going to be able to get them on your side, maybe play with that theme. So yeah, appeal to wealth for Davik and appeal to military from the king. Any questions?
No, that's self-explanatory.
Yes, and be prepared for a different culture.
All right.
Yes, please be careful. These lands are crazy. They have ice dwarves who live in the mountains. We don't know how they're quite affected by the mind control of Letris Leon. If they gather to war, it may be best to unite the houses there to fight the ice stars before we take their aid back here at Excelsior.
All right.
Cool. And we're back in the modern time. Modern time? Sure, modern time.
Present day.
Yeah, that. And you guys...
Us guys.
Hello. Discord did weird things.
Looks like it still is doing weird things.
Okay. Well, I guess as we head off of the boat, Bryn will nudge Narroth a little bit.
Narroth will look down at the small person.
Not that small.
Smaller than me.
That's true. She points to Zarrius. They're Zarrius, he's not a talkative one, is he?
No. Not many in our party are.
That can't be true. From everything I've heard, Commander What's-His-Name was pretty talkative.
And he's gone.
Well, yeah. Is it because you don't trust each other?
That we don't... What?
That you don't
That we
speak
don't.
to each other?
We speak to each other. We just don't necessarily speak much to others.
Oh. So I guess in that case, since Zarrius hasn't talked to me, I'm still another?
It, as you can imagine, will be difficult for us to fully embrace you for a little while. We did have a very bad experience.
From the sounds of it, you'd had 2 bad experiences with the last 2 people you let in.
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yes, we did. He'll get to know you. Don't worry.
No, it's fine. I understand the lack of trust. It's just
Are we?
is it just us three on this little trek into town, I guess?
So yeah, we're heading into the port town, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, first thing you notice is Yvette and is going to be taking care of the dockmaster. First thing you notice is that everyone's a tiefling. But normally, while tieflings are normally have a reddish hue, sometimes a purplish hue, these ones tend to be more blue. Which kind of even Zarrius and Bryn, who are tieflings, stand out like a sore thumb. But you guys do head into town. The port town is pretty substantial, and you're still rather early in the morning, so you could easily get a day onto the road and maybe hit a crossroads inn or something like that around, depending on what you want to do. But if you want a waiter or if you want to move forward.
Okay, so while we're looking around this town, is there anything else that's very dissimilar to what a regular port town would be besides the blue people?
It doesn't have the same vulgarity as you would expect from a port town. Like, there are sailors wandering in, but they seem almost prim and proper.
I see.
So, it's early enough in the morning where you would see drunk people in the middle of the road or something like that, and you don't notice that.
Interesting. Narroth would look to the rest of the party and kind of wave his head at the town. Seems to be a nice place. You sure this isn't the place we're supposed to be?
Bryn's eyes are sparkling.
I trust Yvette with where she has taken us. I mean, Miles trusts her, so this must be the right place.
Yeah, but we're supposed to go from here over to some other city, some Wexham or something.
I think it's Wexen.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I think we should start trying to head over there as soon as possible. That way we make the best use of our time and not try and use it on getting used to the culture right away, maybe. I think we should kind of do that as we go.
We can stay
Sounds like-
one night, can't we?
You want to wait here all night?
It's kind of a long way away, and plus you're used to wandering, aren't you? So
I'm used to new places.
Tell you what, we've just been on a ship for a long time. Let's go ahead and get some food, experience some local culture, and then make our way.
sounds good.
Okay.
I think Yvette will meet up with you at that point. So, I was just supposed to take you. Now it's in your hands, I believe. Zarrius, you're the one who's calling the shots.
Kinda. I
What's
think.
the plan?
Well, we're gonna grab a bite to eat first, and then we're going to kind of get semi-used to this culture really quick and try to be on our way as soon as possible.
You see her sniffs the air for a second, and she says, "It's going to rain, I think."
Bryn just looks up, confused, starts sniffing herself.
Yeah, we should. Well, if you guys want to stay the day, we can. but that's up to you.
Are you and Phillip going to be joining us?
At least until Lexum, we'll see where we need to take the ship. That's really the biggest issue. We
Yes.
don't want you to travel across the continents, just have to travel back. We can park the ship somewhere closer, per se.
Okay. That would be much appreciated.
Yeah, we have a list of port towns, so we can. That Miles thinks it's safe for us to port in, so we'll base that. But we might as well go see this capital.
Yes. So, I think I want to go back over to maybe, okay, reset. Ask Yvette, do you want to go ask the harbor master where a good place to eat might be if he's not too busy?
Yeah, there's a few restaurants I was told about. I didn't really take it seriously, but I didn't think we'd be staying. But we may be able to stay in a couple of places.
Okay. Can you lead the way?
She shrugs. Sure, it's still early though. We can get some breakfast somewhere.
Yeah. Let's go grab some breakfast. So,
Okay. You guys find a restaurant. They seem to be serving things like eggs, which normally you for breakfast you get like bread, cheese, and maybe like dried meat of some sort. Here you're getting eggs, some fresh milk, that sort of thing. It's a little upper class, but you're paying the same amount of gold you would normally pay for a meal, like for a very simple meal. The eggs are very plain, salt, pepper. Um, Nothing's really added to it, but it's a pretty good meal for what it's for the couple silver you would have paid for it.
all right. And what do most of the people speak around here? Is it common?
They are speaking common, yes.
Okay. Can I assume, since they're tieflings, that they can speak infernal as well?
That's a pretty good assumption.
Okay.
Well, as you guys are kind of doing your thing in there, you do wind up hearing some rather heavy footsteps behind you. And if you were to turn around, you would see Phillip walking into the establishment wearing rather impressive full plate armor with the sign of a rose on the right part of his breastplate. He notices the four of you and he goes, "Ah, there you are." And he
Phillip,
walks
we're
on
over here.
And he walks over. "Ah, so getting breakfast, are we?"
Yes, come join us.
"Gladly."
Yeah, so, anything you want to do, or do you want me to fast forward a little bit?
I would just say fast forward, personally.
Fast
Agreed.
forward.
Bryn makes friends with the waiters, and then we can fast forward.
So we fast forward. Congratulations. You're friends with the waiter.
Yay!
Do you tip well?
Oh, I don't have the money.
Someone tips well.
I tip
I'll
well.
pass Bryn a gold.
She'll tip him the gold.
Oh god. Okay. For like a 2 silver meal. So we'll fast forward to the evening. You approach an inn. We will call it the Lady in the Rose. Fitting because it's probably something Phillip chose just based on the name. You walk into this upper class establishment. You see tables going out, and you see a small stage on the side, and you can tell that people are expecting a performance that night. People are facing the stage as they're ordering their drinks, as they're eating. You are served a mutton stew for dinner, ale. Would you guys like to get rooms for the night before we progress the scene?
Yes.
Yes.
For an A room, it would be about 5 silver for the night, which you guys can double up or get your own. I'm gonna
Narroth will
make you
probably grab his
actually
own.
pay this one.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Chris.
I'll make you guys actually pay for this room.
Okay. I look over to Yvette and Phillip and ask them, do you guys want your individual rooms? I more look towards Yvette than Phillip.
Oh, I don't care. I
Well,
can stay with Bryn
same.
or something.
I'll stay with you.
okay.
Yes.
So that means then Phillip in his own, myself in his own, in my own.
Well-
Narroth in his own, and
Yes,
Two gold, so.
I and our half-dragon friend here are definitely quite big.
yeah, so that's what I was assuming, that you would have your own and Narroth would have his own.
Well, plan established.
Perfect. We'll need
gold.
4 rooms.
2 gold.
I hand over the 2 gold.
Perfect. Let's go on to a more exciting scene. So
Yes, please.
as you guys order dinner, again, mutton, probably some ale of some sort, and you see a tiefling come up. She is wearing a black robe, comes out, and she is carrying a lute, and she looks around, sort of eyeing the crowd, probably makes eye contact with at least the orc and the dragonborn, and she snaps her fingers, and from the back of the stage you notice that piles of bones sort of take forms into skeletons, and she announces, "I am Samantha, and this is the Smugglers 3," and they proceed to play a tune, but all of you guys would recognize necromancy magic being used. And they play pretty well. I mean, but I think maybe the shock of the use of necromancy may stand out to everyone who's used to the main content.
Wow, that was rather different.
And it doesn't seem to bother anyone else besides, Phillip, who really probably wouldn't take into that very much.
Nah.
That was very new, and I don't know, maybe not as thrilling as I would have expected.
You expected Bones to be thrilling?
It was a good performance.
Well, you could always say it was rather humorous. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, I wonder if the people whose bones that used to belong to find it so funny.
No. Why don't you ask Samantha up there? This is Yvette speaking.
Maybe I will, and she storms off.
Okay.
I turned to Narroth. We're going to need to keep an eye on her.
Narroth looks back. You're just realizing this now?
She certainly is rather rambunctious.
Okay, Bryn, you go approach Samantha.
Mm-hmm. And she is a tiefling as well.
It's a bluish hue. Ah, yes, a fan. How can I help you today? How can I help you?
Nice show.
Oh, thanks.
Tell
Me
me,
and my crew really, really enjoy doing this.
do they?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Oh, did you know them?
Of course, we were a crew before they grew too old, for lack of a better way to put it. See, the one playing this drum over here was my grandfather, but well, yeah.
And this runs in the family?
I mean, clearly this was my grandfather.
Sure, but what about the other two?
Some aunt and uncle. I don't know. I just knew them through for their music. We didn't really hang out at parties per se.
It sure seemed to be the life of it now. And she looks over at the skeleton. And they don't really seem to be the life of it at all.
One of the skeletons face palms. But it's like, well, they wanted to play music, so I gave them the opportunity to play it, even after they had passed.
I'm new here. This is not something I normally see.
Really? And what better way to honor the dead than to bring them back?
Well, typically we just let them rest. They did their time.
Oh, well, their soul has left the body, but the body can still be honored.
Sure, and we remembered them, but maybe not in this way.
Oh, they love it. And she goes over to one of them, like pats him a little too hard on the back, and a rib comes out. Goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. We'll fix that later." It's fine. It's fine. This is normal. Happens all the time. She starts sweating a little bit.
Okay. Samantha?
Ah, yes. What is your name? Would you like an autograph?
She doesn't have anything to autograph. Like, she, pats her pockets. Doesn't have anything to autograph. Just, thanks for teaching me something, I guess.
Of course.
Don't know what you did teach me.
Cool.
The name's Wanders.
Wanders.
She wanders away.
They start prepping for the next set.
Back to the party.
Party. Want to talk about anything interesting?
I didn't ask about Bryn's conversation. Probably not.
Okay. Bryn comes back to the party.
I guess that's her grandpa.
Ooh.
You see Phillip arch an eyebrow, and he says, "Oh, intriguing.
Certainly different, I guess.
Not quite sure how I feel about seeing them animated, but nobody else seems to be bothered by it, so not quite sure what to think."
I mean, I guess they're not hurting anybody, right?
That certainly is good.
It seems more like reusing what would otherwise be useless things.
Well, as they always say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Or, I guess in this case, one tiefling's.
I wonder if do they just play music?
At this point, you kind of see Phillip turn towards you, Narroth, and he says, "Pray tell what you have in mind."
It'd just be interesting to see if you could.
They play pretty well.
Oh,
It would just be interesting if they could do more than play music.
Narroth, are you thinking of using Samantha's grandpa for something else?
Not Samantha's grandpa. Just, maybe instead of us burying something that could be useful, we could use something that could be useful.
You see Phillip sigh and say, "You're telling me you plan to learn necromancy? Or at least have someone who can use it?"
No, it's just a philosophical exercise.
You have a strange definition of philosophical, my friend.
Just hypothetical, We could use those to say, do manual labor that people didn't want to do.
At this point, you notice the skeleton are wiping down the table.
Sorry, can you repeat the last part of that?
You see a skeleton starting to wipe down a table.
Like that. See? That skeleton's doing something completely useful. Narroth is pointing.
Well, while I personally do not enjoy seeing the dead being used once they've earned their rest, I suppose if it's for something like making music, I wouldn't really have anything against it. I will admit they did play rather well just now.
See? And their souls did earn the rest. It's just the bodies that are being put to work now.
Well, quite frankly, I still don't like it, but what will be, and if they're not hurting anybody, I suppose I don't have to do anything about it.
Exactly. Could be useful. Narroth is kind of looking off into space and just kind of stroking his chin.
As you look around, you see that Yvette is passed out on the table. And you hear a bottle clatter from her shirt, and it passes out on the floor. You notice an empty bottle of Blackwater Mansion vodka just gone.
Phillip just sighs and he says, "Well, Bryn, would you mind if I borrowed your room key for a second? I'm going to take Yvette up."
She'll hand it over.
"Thank you." And Phillip does just that. He kind of does a he does a fireman carry and just takes her up to the room. Oh, my dear Lord Saloon.
I guess we always need... Every once in a while, each of us needs somebody to carry us.
Phillip comes back after a little time goes by. "Well, do all you folks want to revel in the music a bit more, or do we wish to call it a night?" He also gives Bryn back the keys.
I'm probably going to call it a night. I wouldn't mind doing a little bit of meditation before I go to bed.
The word snaps Narroth out of his daydreaming. And he's like, yes, probably time to meditate.
I'm fine right here.
Well, I think I will just spend a little time out here as well, but I will retire very shortly. The two of you may have a good night.
Narroth looks over at Bryn. Bryn, be good.
I'm always good.
Be better than I am.
Oh, that's easy. She chuckles and winks.
Narroth smirks.
As Narroth passes Phillip, Phillip leans in, whispers to Narroth and says, "This is partly why I'm staying out for a bit more."
Well,
And then
You're a better man
waves
than
you good
I.
night.
have a good night, gentlemen.
And I think this would be a good place to take a intermission.
Okay.
All right.
After they leave, Bryn will probably get up and dance in front of the skeletons, but for now we'll take a quick intermission, rest our voices, and be back in just a few.
Cool.
And we are back with more Low Rollers Live. Chris, you want to take it away?
Perfect. We okay to wake up the next morning?
Yep.
Am I supposed to wake up?
Do you know when to wake up? We can have you reroll.
I do.
Okay. Yeah, we work so hard on your character.
Yes, we wake up.
Bryn and Yvette are probably the last two to wake up.
Probably. But you guys get a nice breakfast of eggs again, fresh milk. And the place seems pretty clean. There's no real remnants that there was any party or taverny stuff going on last night. Even though at least Bryn would know that the band played pretty late into the night. You know, the equivalent of 1 or 2. But they were able to get the place cleaned up by the next morning. And Zarrius probably will woken up around 7, 8 o'clock.
I'm probably gonna go downstairs and request some food from just some breakfast.
Cool. Breakfast comes. No big deal. And everyone can slowly, eventually wake up.
Does anyone come downstairs to join me?
Narroth would probably be right behind you.
Phillip is likely coming in a little after Narroth as well, already donning his equipment.
Ordering some food. Seeing how he can make it a little bit more, flavorful.
Alright, so do you want to fast forward to when you guys leave?
Oh, well, I don't think Bryn or Yvette has made it downstairs yet.
Alright. 2
Question.
hours later, Yvette wakes up.
Question.
Answer.
So, have we exited the port town already and are on our way?
No, you're still at the tavern.
Okay, still at the tavern in the port city.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that. Okay, thank you.
No, I think we did travel for a day, didn't we? Am I crazy?
I thought we were a little bit, but
Okay. I misunderstood. The scene can happen at any tavern, but I thought you were staying in the port town for the day.
I thought we were gonna just grab some food in the morning and then take off, learn the culture just a tad, and take off.
Yeah. So you guys could have done a day of traveling and then had an evening at a crossroads tavern.
Okay.
And sure.
That's what I had planned on, at least.
Sorry,
Okay.
I misunderstood. But that works. So you have about 2 more days to get to the next town.
Okay. We're talking Wexen.
Yes. Wexel.
Okay. All right. I think just wait for Yvette and Bryn to come on down and join us.
I mean, Yvette will wake up eventually.
I guess the
Well-
question is how long you wait for.
I think after Phillip is done eating, he's going to actually go up to the room and knock.
Yvette's not awake then.
What was the question?
Yvette is not awake.
How about Bryn?
How loud do you knock?
Well, he's a half-orc wearing plate armor. Loud enough, I'd say.
It's pretty loud.
Yeah. He's
Uh,
used to this.
Yeah. So after he knocks, probably like the second time, you hear Bryn, "Okay, I'll be there." And then maybe 20 seconds later, the door opens. Yeah.
Sorry, ma'am. I just, it seemed like the two of you were taking quite a while. I anticipated a bet, but not quite yourself as well.
Well,
Would you like to get some breakfast?
Sure. She, opens the door up. If you want to wake her up, go ahead. And stumbles out into the lobby. Or bar area.
Well, as you're stumbling out, you hear Phillip say, "Oh dear." He walks into the room, and I take it Yvette's snoring fairly loudly still.
Yeah, I mean, it's calmer than what it was last night, but, she's still pretty knocked out cold.
Okay. Well, at this point, Phillip's kind of just looking, pondering. He brings up his right hand to his chin, and what he does is he leans in and kind of lightly smacks her awake with his hand on her cheek.
As you slap her, you do feel a slight shock. It mostly catches you by surprise, but it is enough to wake her up, and she goes, "What? What?"
Get up, it's late. You really should.
How late is late?
What time is it, Chris? More or less.
9 in the morning, bro.
Gotcha. It's around 9-ish. Everybody's already awake and getting food.
Well, I don't normally wake up before noon, so...
I am aware.
Good night.
You do realize we have to pull out of port today, right?
We do?
Yes, we do.
Is that what Zarrius said?
I'm sorry?
Is that what Zarrius said?
Yes.
Ugh. Get me some water. Some coffee.
Right away. And Phillip goes off to do just that.
Well, she'll get up eventually and eat breakfast. And probably cuss quite a bit.
Okay.
Did you guys set out?
Yep, after breakfast.
Yes.
Yes.
So I would like to fast forward 2 days until you get to Lexham, unless you guys want a specific scene.
Nope.
Nope.
Nah.
Run.
No.
So you guys arrive. You arrive around 5 o'clock, and the crowd appears to be going. If you guys arrive at the outskirts, everyone seems to be going towards the inside. So you're seeing a lot of farms, houses. You notice that as you were walking, you guys passed a lot of olives and a lot of grapevines. It appears that the main produce here is olives and grapes. And as you go in, you see that most of these farms are currently empty. They are. Everyone appears to be heading inward. So much so that even though you catch their attention based on the nature of your group, they don't really care in specific on them.
All right. That's good, I guess. And we'll probably head over towards into the city.
Yeah. There's some sort of event going on right now. You do notice that people are heading towards the keep where the castle is, and in there seems to be a staging area made out of wood. The castle itself is made out of stone. It is starting to rain. You can sort of smell the smell of wet grass from the plains and from the vineyards. And it's almost intoxicating from a sense, because you're getting this air of excitement from these people, and from the light rain to the smells, it's just intoxicating in a sense.
We have to head to the keep to talk to the king, so let's go find out what this event is.
All right, sounds good. As long as I can find a place to sit.
Well, you should be able to sit anywhere, my friend.
That is true. But let's get going.
You want to go to the staging area, or do you want to go to the keep, or what's the plan?
Let's go to the staging area.
Everyone?
Yep.
Follow.
So you get to the staging area, and there does appear to be a large wooden makeshift arena almost coming out, and you have a person in the middle on one side. That's going to repeat that. In this round staging area, you have the lower level, which all the peasants are sitting in. You have the higher level where nobility is sitting in. On the four sides of this oval-shaped arena, on the longer points where the length is longer, you see two people standing there. They appear to be noblemen. On the other two sides, thinking of the oval where the width is, I'm having a hard time saying, the width is longer. One side appears to have a throne made of gold. The other one appears to have a throne made of iron. And you see people taking their seats. There's excitement in the air. Things like concession workers are coming out selling foods, turkey legs, chicken legs, that sort of thing.
I turn to someone who's passing by, a stranger, and I ask, "What's going on tonight?"
Oh, well, he's kind of taken aback as he processes your party. This is the Amusement War. This is the event that Davik puts out about once a month for our amusement.
And what is this event?
Oh, have you heard of the game chess?
Yes.
Yes, it's basically those two people over there are playing chess against each other, and things happen while they're playing. Davik, who's sitting on the gold throne over there, will be overseeing it, and the king is on the iron throne atop of us, who also has a vested interest in this because he helps provide the entertainment per se. It's an interesting spectacular. You'll enjoy it.
I look forward to it. Thank you. And I turn to the party and say, "Did you guys all understand that?"
Narroth looks over, shakes his head slowly. So are people fighting?
It doesn't seem like they're fighting. It just looks like they're playing a game and there's two guys facing off against each other, and I'm pretty sure there's gambling involved with said game. Because I'm pretty sure that head of the casino is heading everything up and kind of overseeing this whole event.
Interesting.
Oh, this should be fun to watch.
Yes, let's try and head over to give her a seat of some sort.
So we so as time goes by, as more seats fill up, there is sort of this anticipation. This is the event that people come to. You get the vibe from people talking. This is the event people come to once a month to, like, their day off. The farmers have been working for the whole month, and they need this moment to relax. This is the king and Davik giving the people entertainment. But but no one seems to be actually talking about what happens per se. As the game goes by, dusk hits and then evening, and torches are lit. We see on each side the two noblemen are introduced as the main competitors of this game. Soon, Davik is introduced by a herald. You hear the trumpets going on, and you hear something around the lines of, "Welcome, Davik, to the Amusement War, the great sponsor of such event." After that, the king is introduced. The king does not appear to have any family with him at such events, and he appears to be very solemn when he is introduced. And both of them head up. The competitors head to their boxes, and the Davik and the king head to their throne. Soon, you see people start entering the arena. You see 16 on each side. 16 of them are dressed in white, 16 of them are dressed in black, and they take their places. Keep in mind, these are all tieflings for your imagery. The game starts, and each competitor is yelling out instructions for the tieflings to effectively move into other squares as they prep. Basic chess strategy. So, first 20 minutes go by, and nothing really exciting happens. At this point, the competitor on your right is going to attempt to try to bait the other person to attack them. So he sends this old man forward who is a pawn forward to basically try to bait out the other person. The other guy decides that it's a fair trade. You know, it's going to be like a pawn for a pawn, and sends this little girl to tap this older man on the thing, and the older man is currently the pieces taken, quote unquote. From here, the herald steps forward and goes, "Davik has ordered a beating for this man." And as soon as that happens, two guards come in with wooden clubs, and they start beating this man, not to death, but enough for him to have bruises. At this point, the crowd starts going wild. This was the moment they were waiting for. The tiefling on the right, who tried to set the bait, sent a knight to go take over this teenage woman who was there. This knight comes forward slowly and sort of looks at the competitor who ordered him to go, and lightly taps this woman, this teenage girl, on the shoulder. You see Davik stand up and briefly talk to this herald, and the herald goes, "Rip off her clothes! Rip off her clothes!" And the two guards, with this evil grin, does so, and they just start tearing off the thing. This teenage girl takes it in stride, and then Davik, realizing this, whispers to the herald, "And cut off her hair." This woman starts panicking, starts screaming. You can hear the screams over the applause of the audience. The guards then run in and tackle her. You see a knife is produced, and you see this hair just cut away. The audience is now laughing at this thing, and the girl is taken away out of the arena, along with the man who was brutally beaten, and the game continues. As the game continues, yes, sir.
I was just gonna say, at that point, Bryn probably gives a glaring glance to Narroth and Zarrius, and just walks straight out of the arena.
I follow.
Narroth stays where he is.
Okay.
Phillip actually nudges Narroth to see if he can, and kind of gives an indication with his head to follow if he'd like, and Phillip also leaves.
Yvette probably stays. Not amused at all, though. But this happens. Now we're getting into more action. More pieces are getting taken, and after maybe 3 or 4 more quote-unquote punishments go, Yvette gets up and leaves also.
Narroth is probably going to force himself to stay to the end.
Okay. It's much of the same thing. I don't necessarily have any desire to describe it.
Thank you.
But it's a lot of women being shown off, a lot of men getting beaten, a lot of, there's no death, I want to make that clear, but there is brutally beaten, things getting broken, things where a guy may lose a thumb, stuff like that. And the crowd at this point is going wild. This is what they wanted. And eventually, after 2 hours, it does end. But that is that.
Okay. At the end, when I'm assuming someone wins, what happens to the rest of the people on the board?
The rest of the people are escorted by guards off the arena. Nothing appears to happen to them there.
Okay.
The winner is announced, and Davik walks over to the winner, and they have a brief conversation. It looks like paperwork is exchanged, specifically.
I'm sorry, what was exchanged?
Paperwork.
Ah, okay. I, away from Narroth and not knowing what else has gone on, look over to Bryn and just say, that was horrible.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And you hear the clanking of the plate armor, and then you hear someone say, "They are absolutely barbaric."
Yeah, and we're supposed to make friends with these people? Eek.
This is our army, apparently. I can't imagine what the world would be like if the Wounded King is allowed to control this place, or set free the inhibitions of these people.
Well, he can't control their minds because they're all tieflings.
Well, yet.
True. Would you guys like to maybe try and find a place to sleep for the night?
Well, I want to wait until Yvette comes back down. I'm sure she's not going to be staying there for much longer.
Bryn just says, I need some time, but I'll stay close. And she just kind of walks off. Probably the first time you haven't seen her skip somewhere.
Yvette will join the scene. She is stoic, for probably the first time that you guys noticed, and sort of bows her head and kind of walks past Phillip and Zarrius, finds a table, um, seems to take out some sort of book of some sort, and she's just writing things down.
Phillip walks over to her and says, "Would you like to go and get some refreshing water, perhaps? I imagine that spectacle wasn't fun for you to watch."
I need to know what happens at the end.
Well, seeing as how our half-dragon friend hasn't come back yet, he may be able to tell us. Are you telling me you want to go back in there?
No, I want to wait for him out here.
All right, I'll stand by as well.
I don't think he was enjoying it, but he has the right idea what we have to learn. I just don't understand why we have to do that.
Well, as much as I just like to say this, sometimes you find strength in the most unexpected places, regardless of whether or not you like it.
I definitely don't like it.
Neither do I. Neither do our other three companions as well, from the looks of it.
I can't blame him.
Indeed. At this point, Phillip looks over at Zarrius and says, "So do you want to just wait until Narroth comes back out as well?"
I guess.
All right.
And I sit there just contemplating life.
You guys will be waiting for a while.
But I take it that there's nothing else open, is my guess. Every place closes down for this event, it seems like.
Yeah, at this point, Phillip's pretty much not gonna do anything until Narroth comes back out.
I wouldn't mind going to see if I could find Bryn, probably after a while. Give her some time, but probably go see if I can find Bryn.
You can probably find her like in a back alley somewhere, just kind of like sitting on the ground, like back against the wall, just kind of like hanging her head.
You okay, Bryn?
Okay. I'm not really happy about it.
I am not either, don't get me wrong. That was utterly despicable.
No, not about that. About asking these people for help. I'm not happy that we have to do that.
Neither am I, especially after what we just witnessed. But I think it is extremely necessary for us to try and get accustomed to what is going on here. I wouldn't say it should be part of our system at all. I don't think that should be part of our system whatsoever. But I think we need to somewhat get used to this because we're going to have to be in it for a while.
I know. Just know that I'm going to do my best to bite my tongue.
In terms of what's going on, or the fact that we have to ask these people for assistance?
Both. I don't think we can change the way things are done around here.
Yeah.
But I can't help but want to try.
Yes. That hurt. And I know we haven't gotten to know each other all that much either. And I do apologize for maybe not coming up to you sooner. But I will definitely value your opinion in the coming negotiations with said ruler.
Well, I understand. You've had a lot on your mind recently. I'm sure you still have plenty.
We all do. But I think what needs to happen is that we need to get to know how this whole culture works and try to fit in as best as possible. I know he said that we need to get used to the fact that they're prideful. So I don't want to become prideful, but I think we need to start having to boost ourselves up more, maybe a little bit, rather than be okay with everything that's going on. I
You-
think that might be best for negotiations.
You know something, Zarrius?
What?
You don't talk much, but seems like when you do, you really mean it. And it's worth saying.
Well, thanks. I feel like a lot of the companions don't necessarily agree with what I have to say, so that's probably why I don't say it as much as I should.
Is that because who you used to travel with? I know you have a few deceased companions.
A little bit, yes. They betrayed us, and they were the decision makers of the group, and so every time I tried to bring something up, they always would tear me down and break apart my argument, thus me eventually just going along with whatever they did.
Bryn will, get up from her seated position and take a knee next to you so that you're relatively eye level.
Uh-huh.
And she goes, I will always listen to you. I will always hear you out. And if I don't, tell me.
Okay. Thank you. That's going to be very comforting in the next couple months.
You're in
As
charge
I-
now.
As I normally ask Astor for assistance in these matters.
I understand he's well spoken, but I have a feeling that you're one of the wisest ones we have.
Well, thank you. Do you want to come see if Narroth joined back up with the rest of the party?
Yeah, let's just get this done and hope the rest of the continent isn't like this.
Agreed. So we're gonna head back over to the rest of the party. I find Phillip and Yvette, and hey, Phillip, has
Mhm.
Narroth come back yet?
Phillips takes a quick look around and says, nope, it does not seem like he has returned yet. I guess these games, as you call them, are taking a little bit of time.
They seem to be the summer festival like in Jingzhou that we had a couple months ago. Everyone comes out for it and they have an absolute ball of a time.
Yeah, but Zhengzhou had art. This place just has torture.
I understand. I was just using it as a slight metaphor, but we need to get slightly accustomed to this, I feel like, because hopefully this doesn't happen on a regular basis and we just have to deal with this once a month, if anything, and hopefully we don't have to stick around here for too long in order to find out.
Yes, it is rather difficult to change the direction of a river stream by tossing a little pebble into it.
Yes.
But enough pebbles will change the tide.
If thrown in quickly enough, yes, they do get worn away.
Yes. I would just say that as we go through this, to stick close to what we personally believe in, even though what's going around us is completely different and totally opposite of what we would like. So, Phillip, stay true to your beauty. I will stay true to nature. And do you have anything, Bryn, that you stick close to?
The road.
Yes. Just go about and try and find ways to occupy ourselves with what we know and what we believe in so we don't get too caught up in what's going on.
Right. We only need their army.
Yes. Which hopefully doesn't involve the sort of beating that we witnessed.
Well, war is never pretty. War is absolutely one of the ugliest things that can exist. While I wish I could agree with you, I cannot. Certainly is a nice sentiment, an ideal I wish I could truly believe in, but it will be difficult.
Yes. So let's just try and occupy ourselves till Narroth gets back.
Yeah, at this point, Philip sits down at a chair near the same place where Yvette is currently sitting and just pulls out his book and kind of starts to muse a little bit. Just you can see that his attention is focusing in on the book that he has out.
Hmm. Uh, Bryn and Yvette, what do you want to kind of talk over what our plan is for our time here, maybe? Just that we kind of can get maybe a little bit of a game plan as to how we want to approach these next couple days.
Well, we need to talk to either Davik or the king. So, pick one.
Just how to get a hold of them.
Well,
and to get up high enough in order to reach their
we are
them.
travelers from another continent. Emissaries? Diplomats?
Right.
Use that, I guess.
Yes. We'll definitely be using the diplomatic approach as to say, yes, we're hailing from
Excelsior.
Excelsior. I totally forgot that for a split second. But we're hailing from Excelsior, and we need assistance in fighting the wounded king.
Yep.
So, okay, Chris, anything?
Yeah, I guess at this point, the game can end and Narroth can join the scene. Or Narroth can choose to go somewhere else if she chooses to.
Perfect. Narroth is actually going to stay behind, and I'm going to say that throughout the games, in order to not concentrate as much on the brutal amount of torture, Narroth is going to kind of gauge the crowd and look and see if he can find the people who are the cut purses, the thieves, the buskers, the criminal element of this place.
You rolling Thieves' Cant? Or are you using Thieves' Cant to do the...
I can, sure.
How are you doing so?
Mostly just looking. So I was thinking maybe streetwise, but if you'd like, I can just be thieves canting and seeing who responds.
Go ahead and give me go ahead and give me an insight check, and I'll take it with advantage because you're used to this sort of thing.
14.
You find a couple. They don't appear to be cut purses per se. They're more the gamblers who seem to be giving off the thieves' cant. They're gamblers who are playing like rig systems per se.
I see. But no one trying to steal money off those who might be a little bit intoxicated, or no one trying to lift someone's purse while they, get up and cheer that someone's just been stabbed, or I don't know, something.
While that's probably happening, you don't see it.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to basically be playing a game where I try to look for everybody that's doing something while the other torture is going on. And as soon as the game's finished and people start filing out, I'm going to file out with them, trying to see if I can pick up as much conversation about what's going on, the general mood after the games have ended, stuff like that.
Sure. So most of the discussion is basically comparing it to last month's game. You would things like, oh, they were much nicer this year, or what they did to that one person was too cruel, but this other person got a just punishment. You also get the feel that these people who are participating in the action as the chess pieces are people who are getting paid to do it. Like, if they have the opportunity to basically shame themselves to earn a couple gold pieces, so it is their choice, more or less. And that's about what you get from conversation. Also, there's a lot of people about Davik sponsoring it and how great Davik is, and yada yada yada.
Interesting. In that case, I'll make my way to the rest of the party. Or I'm going to leave and see if I can spot the rest of the party.
Sure, you find them.
Perfect. I'm going to walk over. Where's the party right now?
We found a bench.
Just sitting on a bench?
Sitting on a bench. At
Perfect.
least,
Is Yvette there?
yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to walk out, look at Yvette, and say, I need the flask.
She pulls out 4. You
I take it
feeling
and drink.
tequila? Oh, okay.
I put the flask down, my hands shaking a little bit. Narroth looks at the party and says, well, that was awful.
Yes. What were you able to get out of staying for the whole thing?
Well, I learned a couple things. If it makes anybody feel better, the people who were getting tortured, they were being paid for it, at least to be the entertainment.
Bryn's face does not change whatsoever.
This goes on once a month, and Narroth just kind of trails off, his hand kind of shaking a little bit more until he takes another drink.
At this point, Phillip stands up and he kind of gestures for you to take his seat and says, I think you should sit for a little.
Narroth sits down immediately, kind of like flops over. He doesn't even do it in a dignified manner.
Take it nice and slow. Don't want you to, how should I say this, overexert yourself.
I'm fine. Narroth is kind of saying, kind of clenching his hands so that they don't shake. Now, what have you guys been up to back here? See anything useful?
We haven't seen anything useful, but we were discussing what we witnessed in the time that we spent inside and trying to figure out what needs to be our move for getting a hold of the king and how we need to stay true to ourselves but at the same time get slightly accustomed to what's going on, even though none of us want to. Just so that we can kind of fit in.
Well, they clearly love watching people be tortured. However, it looks to me like they justify it by it being a paid position. So they do have morals. We can approach them on a moral ground, but I doubt they'll be very sensitive to our position of not liking people be tortured for public enjoyment.
But we don't necessarily have to make that known.
No.
Unless we are forced to watch with the king, then I will most definitely do that.
Narroth kind of sighs. If it's what it takes for us to complete our mission, people being voluntarily tortured is, on the scale of good and bad, slightly better than people being killed by the wounded king.
True.
Well, one step at a time. We should
Yes.
definitely take care of the bigger problem and then worry about the other ones.
Now that this event is over, hopefully we can find people that are, doing what these people do. Hopefully we can learn something other than they enjoy torture now that the torture is finished.
Right.
As long as we don't have to watch it anymore.
Yes. Are you okay to walk, Narroth? And
Narroth takes another drink, finds the flask is empty, hands it back to Yvette. Yes, we should find somewhere to go.
and spend the night. Yes. So let's head out.
All right, so you guys probably ask a passerby or something like that about an inn you can go to, and points into a direction of a upper class inn. I mean, you guys can afford to be a little frugal with your money. And you guys head off.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, give me 1 second. As you guys head back into town, you guys begin to approach where more people going on. You're going by nobles' houses, and you're heading into this kind of an upper class area, where you see a man approach you. He is an older man, and he's wearing plate armor that seems to be very, very well used. He also has a great sword on his back. And he sort of smiles gently and approaches the party.
Philip's going to, from the distance, scrutinize the man and see whether or not he has any ill intentions.
Insight?
Yes. No. No.
You can't get a read on him, quite simply. He's very calm, he's very relaxed. If he's lying, he's good at it, or he may just be telling the truth. Or, when you get the read on that when he begins to talk. Unless you guys want to approach him first. But he has a pretty big intent to walk towards you guys.
I'd like to try an insight check.
Roll.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Night and day.
well, what exactly are you trying to get a read off him for? What do you want to do?
Is it an aggressive march? Is like, even though he's smiling, is it like a I'm gonna get you smile, or is it a I come in peace smile?
I would interpret it as a I come in peace, but there's definitely an ulterior motive for his approach.
Okay.
He's smiling, but he's not genuine. How about that?
Okay.
And he approaches, and sort of takes a step back and goes, "Hello, you have come to the attention of my employer. Now, if you're looking at the map, anything that's a blue hex or a token, these are NPCs, or civilians, NPCs that don't appear to have any sort of armor. They're just there, sort of watching. And as this guy approaches you, you notice that they are kind of taking a step back and, walking the other direction.
Okay. And who is your employer?
Oh, I work for Davik, and he would like to meet your acquaintance.
I'd say that to the gentleman, one moment, and I kind of turn around and kind of gesture for everyone to kind of gather in.
Let's huddle up.
We do a group huddle.
Yeah, group huddle essentially.
He smiles and lets it happen.
What do we want to do with this? Because if Davik wants to speak to us, then that's kind of good because we could use some resources of his. But I don't know about this guy.
Well, if he truly works for Davik, then I don't see the harm in going with him.
But let's not be fools about this.
Definitely.
Ready yourselves for a confrontation.
Bryn will
Yeah.
just cock back the hammer on her pistol.
These civilians don't seem to approve of this, per se.
Well, sometimes, as I'm sure you know, people with authority do tend to intimidate others.
And
Well,
people who tend to run the town through fear and violence tend to intimidate others too.
yes, we got to think about that.
Yes,
Well, let's try and make contact and be ready though, in case. So I'm going to break away the huddle sort of thing and say, where and when do you want us to meet with Davik?
Oh, right now, of course.
Okay.
See, what I need you to do is I need to put your weapons in this bag right here. And then I'm going to put a black bag over your head. And then I'm going to take you to go see David.
At this point, you see one
Yeah.
hell of a scowl appear on Philip's face.
We do not want to give up said weapons. I know my party, they do not like to give those up. And we also do not like the fact that we would be or have our heads covered. Why would you need to do that to us?
Oh, of course, the location's secret. I can't just go ahead and tell you.
I understand.
That is the arrangement. And unfortunately, you don't really have a choice. So,
As to whether or not we come with you, or
that is correct. I'd rather you guys do it willingly. I don't want to give you guys any bruises.
Narroth arches an eyebrow.
let's
How
let's try and trust the man.
do we know you work for Davik?
I guess you don't. That's neither here nor there, though.
Bryn's hand is like her finger is itchy. It's hovering over the gun.
Narroth is going to look around to the party. All right. This good man will take us to Davik. And we're going to be nice and civil about this. He looks over to the messenger. But because we're going to be so civil, this nice gentleman is going to allow us to keep a handle on our weapons. With the bags on, we won't be able to see in order to attack him, but we will at least have something in order to defend ourselves. How does that sound? And Narth is going to try to persuade him.
Good. Give me a second. He looks at you. Unfortunately, this is not negotiable. Otherwise, my head will be on the line.
Narth looks to the rest of the party. Will?
Let's do this the easy way. And I hand over my staff. And my whip.
And the
That's
club.
the club is, I don't have the club anymore. My staff is the club.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah,
Sure.
so it's just those two, the staff and the whip. And I will grab the black bag from him and put it on my head. Come on, guys.
Narroth looks over to Bryn. Well, suppose we don't have a choice now. Narroth will take one of the black bags from the guard.
Dagger, please.
Narroth kind of half growls and grabs his dagger out in almost an aggressive fashion, but then hands it over.
Oh, this is nice craftsmanship. Turns
Phillip.
over to Phillip and Bryn.
Where's the rest of your entourage?
Oh, that doesn't matter.
And how do you expect to take all of us at once?
That also doesn't matter.
That is a lie.
It doesn't matter to you.
Yes, it does. You at the very least owe us this explanation if you're taking so much from us.
Quite frankly, I owe you nothing.
Phillip, come on, let's go.
No,
Phillip.
no.
Yvette, can you persuade Phillip to give up his arms before he gets hurt?
Yvette is taking like a combat stance. I'm with Phillip on this one.
Narroth looks back at them. Well, we have a chance to make at least a neutral impression on his boss if we resist. I doubt we will have that opportunity again.
Well, unless just you and I go, Narroth.
No, I'm taking the whole party. I'm sorry. That's also not negotiable.
This is way too unfavorable on our side. I'm afraid I can't agree with you unless you answer some questions.
I'm sorry. That is not the case.
At this point, you see Philip put his hand on his, what did you say, had a great club? And he says, I'm afraid I don't care whether I have a choice or not. I refuse to put my life in the hand of someone that I have only just met and seems to be rather suspicious. Show us proof that you are truly employed by this man, and perhaps I may change my mind.
No.
I go over to Phillip and I kind of look up at him, and since he's taller than me, and kind of wave him down to like my level, kind of.
Philip pulls the black bag off your head.
Do you come down to my level?
He will.
I slug him as hard as I possibly can. And I say, hand over your weapon now. We are going with him. We don't have a choice. Let's do this neutrally. We're diplomats, here for a reason.
Zarrius, you mean to tell me you are going to trust the word of a man you have never met before, who is imposing extremely disadvantageous conditions on everybody, including yourself and your companions here? While I understand that you want to be diplomatic and you want to trust someone, this is far too suspicious for even someone like myself.
I understand. But do you see the men giving us a choice?
That's the problem in itself.
We are here for a reason. And I understand that you don't like the circumstances. I don't like them either. But I'd rather go willingly than put up a fight.
Phillip stares Zarrius in the eyes. Then he looks over towards the man over there. Has his countenance changed at all, or how is he behaving?
He's getting impatient. I'll give you that. But he's still standing there with a slight smile.
From what I saw in him was decently good intentions.
How is Bryn behaving?
She isn't sure what she should be thinking right now. She sees the merits of both of you.
At this point, Phillip stands up, nice and tall. He's actually going to walk over to the man over there. He's going to stand right in front of him and look right down at him. How is he behaving?
He does not appear intimidated. I mean, Zarrius would know that he still thinks he has the upper hand, regardless.
Right. Well, Phillip does another deep sigh. And he says to him, if anything happens to us, your life is forfeit. And he starts to give him the short sword and then also the great club.
Always a character. Never get a nice, easy situation in my profession.
Well, may I propose this question to you? Would you feel comfortable giving up your weapons to us?
Luckily, I don't have to worry about that.
Luckily for you, that's still not the proper answer.
That's your opinion. I can respect that.
Phillip just rolls his eyes and says, sneaky types like you will never be liked. And he walks back over to where Yvette is.
As soon as Phillip starts to hand over his weapons, Bryn will disarm the hammer on her pistol, and as soon as he leaves, she'll walk up to the guy.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bryn.
Hi.
She extends her hand out. And you are?
I'm referred to as Darren.
Nice to meet you, Darren. She draws her pistol, does a few, spins it forward a few times, spins it back a few times, and somewhere in the middle of that, all 6 rounds fall out and into her open palm. Then she hands it to him.
Impressive.
Then she takes out her rifle, cocks the lever forward 4 times to eject the shells, which she also manages to catch, and then hands him that as well.
You're handing the bullets.
No, the rifle.
Just double checking.
Yeah, the rifle.
Excellent.
And
I'm
then,
really sorry for this. I hope you guys will be comfortable.
oh, she also has a dagger that she's giving him.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And he turns over to Yvette, and Yvette sort of raises up her hands like, I don't have anything. And he goes, it's best to hold hands or something. I can lead the person in front. We'll take it easy.
Before the bag goes on, Bryn is going to put on her brand new spectacles.
Okay. And does everyone put on the bag?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Begrudgingly so.
Grab onto our tails, I guess.
Please don't.
Please don't.
Oh boy.
And this is where we're going to end tonight.
As they walk
Wait, I have
off.
an important question. Did they wash the head bags?
It doesn't smell.
Oh, good.
Okay, and as our party walks off with this strange man, we'll go ahead and end the night. Thank you for watching another episode of the Low Rollers Live. We are live every Monday night at 9 p.m. Pacific here at Twitch TV. You can also find our recorded sessions on YouTube. Just search for Pwrlvl Podcasts and you'll find it there. I've been your host, Danny Allinson, and thank you for joining us once again. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be here for our post show in just a few minutes.